Hey, Nick, AJ had said on Wednesday that, you all right?
Yeah,
Not Mike?
shocked the heck out of me right there. All right.
AJ had said that he was giving an example of your loyalty, and he pointed to the last Seattle play in which he said that him and Jalen were kind of improvising there, check to a play, probably wasn't the time and place to do it, and yet the following press conference, you kind of like took the bullets there and maybe not explaining it in the way that you probably could have because you were protecting your players. Like, why do that?
Yeah, I think that's what a lot of coaches do, and that's what something I've always done and always thought. When a coach did that for me, was appreciative of it, but also knew that coach was going to correct it after the fact. But knowing that, when I played, and that was a long time ago, knowing a coach had my back was really important to me. And you're a product of things that you went through, and I know that's important. I felt like that would be important to them as well. And then we just move on and we correct the mistakes that we make from that, myself and the players.
How did you handle that? And is that difficult to the prideful way when you really know exactly what happened and you can't explain it?
No, because pride is a thing that's always dangerous, and I've seen too many times where pride is something that deteriorates teams, and so you have to put pride aside and you have to just say, what you believe, how you believe to do it. And so, no, I don't find that hard because we're a team, and like I say to you guys all the time, the best thing I can be right now at 42 years old is be part of a football team that's special, and that's just what teams do, and that's what good teams do.
So Nick, the other part of that is why they're improvising in that moment. Is that something that you are okay with? What type of freedom does Jalen have in that respect?
Yeah, he has total freedom to do what he needs to do to make a play, and sometimes that's going to work, and sometimes that's not going to work. Like freedom, is being able to go up to the line. Like it's very rare that, not very rare, but when you have success on offense, you're going to see different things that you didn't anticipate getting on tape. I mean, that's happened to us multiple times this year where there's things that are happening that you don't anticipate on tape, and sometimes you make those adjustments on the sideline. Sometimes the player makes the adjustments, and that's what you work so hard through the training camps and OTAs. Like, here's what we like versus this. Here's what we like versus this. Yes, this has answers versus this, or this has answers versus everything, but this is an ideal thing to get to in these scenarios. So you constantly talk about those things. And like I said, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's the right time to do it and sometimes it's not the right time to do it. But I always say this, and Frank Reich used to always talk to me about this, that in one of the greatest backup quarterbacks of all time, right, is like a quarterback's going to make 4 to 5 plays in a game with his mind that are gonna change the game. And sometimes that's something that he sees and it's part of a check, and sometimes it's something that he sees that he gets to. And I just think that's standard practice from high school football to college, probably more so in college football, to the NFL football. Like, does LaSalle change plays at the line of scrimmage? I don't know, but I think St. Joe's Prep probably does. All right, but I just think that's standard practice from within, and that's what you're trying to do, and that's why you're trying to constantly be on the same page with the players, and so like, gosh, I think Jalen just does a really good job of that. Has done a lot of good things with that, and when it doesn't go right, like in particular in that game, you have to be able to say, okay, we'll fix it. This might not have been the time to do it, or this was the right time to do it. But no one's going to bat 1,000 within those decisions. But I know this, that he's doing this a lot more, and it's working than it's not working in that particular case.
With respect to Kansas City, that whenever you made the check to apply that worked in those instances where it did work in this one, or it didn't. What is the fix? What was learned in that time?
Yeah, I mean, again, every situation's a little bit different. He made a great check in Kansas City, and it went out to. I think sometimes it's very easy to say, well, this check worked. The check was successful. this check wasn't successful. And so like, there's no way you can look at it that way, because then you'll stymie the quarterback and you'll stymie the players to be able to do these things in the time. Like, you correct it if it wasn't the right time or wasn't or not. But like, sometimes it's going to, like, and I think we look at the result, right? You can do that in football all the time. Like, I mean, you see it all the time. Like, well, they should have done this here. Well, why? Because this one didn't work. Well, yeah. I mean, you're always going in with a why. You're always going in with why you would do something. But we obviously and ultimately are judged on the result, which is fair. That's fine. We know that. But that's not the same in coaching. Like, you have to look at it and say, okay, this one worked, this one didn't, and when's the right time to do it? It's just, we understand, though, we're going to get judged based off the result of it.
What's your view of
labeling?
What's your view of the public accountability versus in-house accountability? Because the other side of falling on the sword for a player is holding them publicly accountable.
Yeah, no, I just think, like, there's things that don't need to be addressed to the outside world, and that we keep things in-house. Just like a conversation with a player, like, I'm never gonna talk to you guys about a private conversation I had with a player, because that's between us, and that's the same thing, with a play. Like, nobody really needs to know in those scenarios, and all that matters is that we know, and all that matters is that we get better from whatever we did from it. If the play worked, we get better from that. If the play didn't work, we get better from that. And this whole team, like, our third core value is accountability, and that's a portion of it. And so accountability, portion of accountability I care about is that what happens in this building. Like, that was nice of AJ to say that. He didn't have to say that, because all I really care about is that the accountability takes place here, and that's all that matters. That's all that matters, is if we're getting better as a unit, and that we're getting better as a team based off the mistakes we've made and based off the good things that we've done.
Do two more before we flip
Yeah,
it.
you mentioned the labeling. AJ used the term improv. So if, freelancing, other people say, versus
Checking.
an audible checking in the normal course of the offense. So that's what it
Same.
was.
Yeah, I mean, they checked to a play in that situation. That's what it was. Just like he checked to a play in the Kansas City game, and it worked. This one it didn't work. So,
Mike?
Can you tell us your decision?
With respect to Jalen, there's some tangible evidence that, if you want to say, I don't know, took a step backwards, something along those lines, more turnovers, not running the balls effectively. Do you look at that and take any onus on that? Do you kind of look at the season as a whole and say, all right, he wasn't quite as productive as he'd been the year before? That's something on us in any regard?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
yeah, but now do I think Jalen's played really good football? Hell yeah. He's played really good football, right? And as a team, like I said, before we got into the little skid that we're in, he's the number one player in the, as people would talk through, as far as MVP. Now we're in a skid, and when you're on a team that's lost 4 out of the last 5, then that goes away. And if any player of ours plays bad, we take onus on that. Like, hell yeah. Like, I'm a little, not like that's our job to make them play well and help them play well. That we are there to serve the players. And whenever, that's why I say, like, I know you think maybe in times, like, when I say blame me for that, I truly believe that if a player's not playing to the best of his ability, that's on me. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't correct the mistakes that they made and hold them accountable and just say, hey, that's on me. That's not what you do. You go in and you correct the stuff. But, like, if the detail's off, it's a combination, right? Like, okay, well, the execution and the detail wasn't there, but did I coach it as well as I needed to? And so, yeah, anytime you feel, if AJ had a bad game, I would say that's on me. I didn't prepare you, or I didn't put you in the right position to make a play, and we serve the players, and that's what's, obviously all of us that are coaches now, sure, we wish that we could still play. My goodness, like, I wish I'd have been able to play at this level. They just told me I wasn't good enough to, and so, like, of course we want to play, but then when we get into this role, what's something that's special about it is that you're helping others do what they want to accomplish. Like when AJ or Devontae score a touchdown, that's a special thing for us as coaches. That's why we're going so crazy, because we've helped them, get to there. But that's the same, like if we're going to be so excited when they do something right, and know that we serve them to help them get there, then it's got to be the other way around too when it's not the right way. And what could we have done better in that scenario?
All right.